Alright, before I start anything, thank you to Joalro, Deoxy911, and the members of Smashboards that made this video possible. Joalro and Deoxy911 compiled a script for me to read off to you in this video that has all the information I couldn't have compiled myself, so thank you to you two. You made this video come out way faster and I couldn't have done it without you. As well, the Smashboard members that got all these proofs together in the time of need when this leak was all up in the air. Thank you to you guys, you know who you are, and I will credit you at the end of the video with some names and annotations and whatever. So, let's get right into it.
Come on, bitch! It's Sonic Speed!
We begin with the Ninka_Kiwi/Vaanrose leak. We'll just call it the Ninka Vaanrose leak. This story started some time ago. Ninka, a user on Smashboards forums, had previously shared that he had inside source from Nintendo of America, and posted that the source had revealed some interesting information to him. Previously, the source did not provide any major details, but this time, he surprised Ninka with the amount of surprising evidence he had. According to this alleged leak, we were getting Duck Hunt Dog, Shulk, Dr. Mario, Dark Pit, and Bowser Jr. in the Koopa Clown car as playable characters, in that detail. Unfortunately, we were also informed that Lucas, Ice Climbers, Wolf, and Snake were all cut. Again, this was before the picture leaks we got last week. After being disregarded for some time due to how ridiculous this all sounded, Ninka shared several photos that his source had shown him weeks before E3. These photos were from Brawl Mod showcasing Mario in pink and light blue, and Bowser in green arms and legs, and a red and blue Bowser that wasn't shown at E3. As it turned out, this pink and blue Mario coloration and the green Bowser coloration were shown at E3, created days before. When it was decided the rest of Smashboards should see this, a lot of commotion was had whether it was real or fake. In this commotion, a community modder named Vaanrose came forward to reveal a source of his own. This source told him before the July 14th trailer that Robin, Bowser Jr., and Duck Hunt Dog were playable characters, but didn't provide any further information. He had not initially known whether to believe him, but after Robin's reveal it was clear as crystal. Ninka's source and Vaanrose's source had some sort of credibility, and they felt like he should come forward. With two sources now claiming that the dog and young Koopa were playable, the leak as a whole became commonly known as the Ninka/Vaanrose leak. There were very few supporters from the start, as this leak didn't really give as much as a bat of an eye to most of the community, probably because it was completely overshadowed by the Jamatsu leak. Most thought this leak was ridiculous. That would all change 3 weeks later. Then the motherlode, or should I say, the motherfucking leak, hit 4chan for the biggest curveball Smash 4 has ever seen. It began with a single image posted on 4chan. The image was a list of veteran selection screen icons, some of which had not been seen in the official Smash 4 photos or videos yet, as well as several new characters. It just so happened that this list included Duck Hunt Dog, Bowser Jr., Shulk, Dr. Mario, and Dark Pit, while cutting Lucas, Ice Climbers, Wolf, Snake, Ivysaur, and Squirtle. There was also a question mark over Mewtwo's image. The image was rather vague and lacked any real context, yet it used convincing, previously unseen images from characters we hadn't seen officially revealed, resulting in confusion in all corners of the internet. This was soon followed up with an image of the character selection screen. Also, it gave many more images of the lower half of the 3DS, which gave better pictures of Bowser Jr. and Duck Hunt Dog. We then received a second leak, which showed us several full character images, which appeared to be some sort of animated intro, with characters moving horizontally across the screen. We received two of these images, which gave us a better look at Dr. Mario and Shulk, both matching renders from the leak 1. Then this was followed by a third leak, which showed us the stage selection screen. And finally a fourth leak, which showed us a fight between Shulk, Charizard, Ganondorf, and Lucina, in a team match, as well as the victory screens on both top and bottom. Let me just say, all of these pictures brought up some incredible speculation. Let me put it to you like this though, for those unaware, some parts of this leak are quote unquote real, while the others are a bit fabricated. Why were they fabricated? Well, I'll go into that later when we get to the certain parts of the leak. All I'm going to tell you right now is that from the original leak, motherfucker stated that there was DLC. This was a lie. Now, why did he lie about this, and how do we know? 1. He lied because he knew he had the power to. With all these images that were damning proof, he knew he could have added something fabricated to stir people off. 2. Other people in on the leak knew these facts and they were not shared by any of them, so they figured he fabricated them. Alright, Now that we got this history lesson out of the way, we're going to go through each of the leaks and figure out how valid each of the images are and the myths being connected to them. We shall begin by looking at the first set of leaks. The first oddity to note is the initial character list. Characters that had X's on them, while Mewtwo was the only character with a question mark over it. What does that exactly mean? It would appear at first glance that the leaker did not know Mewtwo's fate, but unfortunately we have no more information on that, so this is just left to us as a mystery. Now onto the character selection screen. The major thing to say about this is that it's received quite a bit of hate and cries of FAKE at first glance. In order to tackle this objectively, we are going to have to rid ourselves of our biases and predispositions. Just because you don't like the way this roster looks doesn't mean it's fake. Sakurai's a crazy man, and so's that team, and they've definitely given us weird rosters in the past, so why is any time like this different? Anyways, here's what we get at first glance. Gone are the character names, borders, and spacing. It's a very simple selection screen, just the images of the characters crammed together on a black background. There's also a significant amount of blank spaces at the bottom. There are also a few other oddities, such as Yoshi being stuck between the Mario veterans and newcomers, a place he has not been in the past Smash games. We also have the new clones in their respective sections near the bottom of the roster, rather than with their respective franchises. Perhaps the strangest thing is Shulk being placed with the third-party characters. What possible explanations are there for these oddities? It's hard to say for sure. The first possibility, of course, is the leak is fake. However, it seems strange that a leaker would go through all the trouble to make these arguably amazingly high-quality renders of a number of characters, but then rearrange the characters in what seems to be a strange way. Remember, it's the job of the leaker to make us believe it's real. Sakurai and his team? They don't have that job. They can do whatever they want, and they have in the past, so they're less limited. But that's not really an explanation, nor is it proof against anything, so let's go a bit deeper. As noted, Yoshi's been placed after Bowser and before Rosalina. Why would a Yoshi series character be placed before a Mario series character? This was most likely done because Yoshi is generally more important to Mario than Rosalina or Bowser Jr. Also, this is a very interesting thing members of the community have pointed out. If you sort the franchises into two groups, multi-character franchises and single-character franchises, it has been noted that these two groups independently are roughly in chronological order of appearance. Yeah, this means date of when the character debuted. So, in the multi-character groups, we have Mario, Donkey Kong, Zelda, Metroid, Kid Icarus, Fire Emblem, Kirby, Star Fox, and Pokemon. For the single-character series, we have Mr. Game & Watch, Punch-Out, Duck Hunt, Robot, Mother, F-Zero, Animal Crossing, Pikmin, Wii Fit, and Xenoblade. The clones have their own group as well, in which they would be sorted by Dr. Mario, Kid Icarus Uprising, and Fire Emblem Awakening. Finally, there are the third-party franchises, which are sorted by Pac-Man, Mega Man, and Sonic. Again, chronologically to date. So here's a question, why is Shulk next to the third-party characters? The most likely explanation is tied to another controversy, the clone section. You notice how the clones have their own section right here, and they're not with their own series? Kind of odd. Maybe the developers thought it would be too much of a hassle to rearrange the character selection screen after they made these clones later in development, so they just made them have their own section. So this is where Shulk comes in. It seems as though, because Xenoblade is the newest game, he would go at the end of the single-character franchises, right here. But since they maybe wanted to keep all the clones together and not split them between rows, they kept them there and put Shulk at the bottom. That is the best explanation I can give, and it's kind of a good one. Now another thing, why are these blank spaces here at the end of the roster? Is this proof that it's fake? Well, maybe not. A lot of the leakers, maybe even the ESRB guy, didn't know it was the complete roster. It could be that these spaces are for DLC characters, but as I said, that old list motherfucker gave us, it's not real, it's fake. So what gives? What is this? Maybe there are some characters we've yet to see unlocked, and even these leakers have yet to see unlocked. So, who could they be possibly? There was a minor leak way back with Ninka and Vaanrose's leak, and it really corresponded. It wasn't really thought hard about because, like Ninka's, it was overshadowed by Jamatsu. This leak was very on the in crowd and not too many people knew it, but it would be revealed on 4chan that Ridley, Mewtwo, Dixie Kong, and Chorus Men would join alongside Bowser Jr., Dark Pit, Dr. Mario, Shulk, and the Duck Hunt Dog. Now, it could be that this leaker shaded this info because they wanted to add some fabrication to Ninka's leak and play along with it. The only problem is, Ninka's leak wasn't popular, Jamatsu's was. Why would they go along with an unpopular leak? And frankly, this is why it gives it some sort of credibility. So, who knows what's gonna happen? Let's just keep going. Another detail of the selection screen people find suspicious is that there are no names on the character tiles, when at E3, there were. The only thing I can say about this is, keep in mind, there are 49 tiles on this screen, and the screen aren't that big, so maybe they just decided to remove them later in development because they found, hey, it seems a little cramped to do that with 49 character slots, or more. Also, games go through some questionable changes from betas to release, so don't be surprised if some things have changed. Actually, there's another example here too that follows that same idea. Many detractors like to point out Fox's background color for his tile. In the E3 demo, it was green, while in the leak, it is blue. So, it must be fake, right? Wrong. From a download card from the 3DS, and a page out of the Nintendo Dream magazine in Japan, both revealed that Fox's background is blue. And this is after the leak, so unless the leaker knew from way back when what color would be shown, it does follow suit with other sources not from the leak. Speaking of character tiles, one of the biggest supposed flaws that is brought up with the leak is Mr. Game & Watch's hand overlapping into Wario's tile. This is simply not true. Closer inspection will show that it's an optical illusion, and that it appears that Mr. Game & Watch's hand is in fact Wario's shoulder. Seriously, you could do this with any two black images, down the lighting and down the quality, and they would look like one. Yet another oddity is one of Wario's eyes seems to be lacking a pupil. Even further, there's a point in the Subspace Emissary from Brawl where Wario makes a similar face. Now the face isn't exactly identical, it would take a lot of work and require a lot of editing to make it work out and match the leak. Whether or not it's real, zooming in and looking very closely will reveal the presence of a second pupil close to his nose. It's just very hard to see. Also, here's a popular one. The line between CPU and level 5 on Kirby's bottom screen slot being thicker than the other CPUs is a big point of interest for detractors. But what you may not have known is it's actually something that helps prove the leak. There are videos available of people choosing CPU characters in the 3DS demo, and if you pay close attention you'll notice that that same line is shown and is thicker in the videos. Clearly this suggests that at the very least, the creator of these images did some serious research to maintain perfect accuracy of the actual product. That's it for the first image. Now onto Ness and the Duck Hunt Dog images. No pictures have been found of either of these characters that closely resemble these renders. And before you say it, this, please. Someone made this after the leak and fabricated a Google search to try and disprove the leak, so we'll ignore it. One thing that's often mentioned is Ness's shirt. In every Smash game prior, as well as the initial clay models, Ness had one small yellow stripe at the bottom of his shirt. There's this image here showing how they've always had him sporting the same amount of monotonous stripes. And this model, however, he lacks that last yellow stripe. While this may be at first seen as evidence that it is fake, it actually has some precedence. Looking into the intro of Melee, after Ness teleports into On It, you can see he does not have that final yellow stripe either. Also, the design of Ness has not been updated for 20 years, so maybe the Smash team just felt like changing it, who knows. One unusual thing about the Ness and Duck Hunt Dog photo is the players have levels. Now some people cry fake when they see this, but it could be some mode we haven't heard of yet. The bottom screen is laid out differently than all the other photos we've seen, so perhaps this is the case. Now let's go on to this animation portion. Shulk's character portrait has faced a lot of scrutiny for the fact that his face looks very similar to Little Mac's in an official screenshot previously released. However, this should not be seen as proof that it is a photoshopped image. Look, both are fairly young male humans, so it's not too surprising they may have similar facial shapes. If you look at the Fire Emblem characters, it shows that it's not unprecedented that multiple human characters might look the same in their faces in these games. A similar point is brought up with Dr. Mario, looking like a past render over here. However, close inspection will reveal that Dr. Mario's entire head is angled slightly differently in the leak than any other pre-existing image. Now, like the Wario image, it may sound easy to just plaster on the picture and say it's the same, but it would require a lot of editing, something this leaker may not have had time, especially with all these renders. Bowser Jr.'s render faces similar criticism for looking like his official art in other games, but once again, there are easy to miss differences that would be very difficult to recreate. Of course, it's not to say it would be impossible, but clearly it is a stretch to think that someone can make all of these portraits and not really mess up on any of them. Also, this GIF. I'm just going to go on and say that the leaked image was edited to match that image, which was from an E3 demo. It was probably made to show how identical the leak was to the E3 game, not to show that it was ripped from it. I think it's just a misunderstanding many people had. Now onto the last bit of leaked images. A common theory is that the gameplay pictures of Shulk are nothing more than a brawl hack. To be fair, there does seem to be a lighting problem on Shulk's cheek that is very present in a prominent brawl hack, but other points people try to make to prove this is not real gameplay aren't as strong. The most prominent claim is that Shulk is clearly using one of Ike's moves. While this certainly does look similar, this does not really prove anything. Other new characters have been known to take animation from older characters as well. For example, look at this comparison from Little Mac and Captain Falcon. Also, here's a big criticism. Many take note of the name on the 3DS while they're playing the game, ESRB0083, and say this is proof that it's fake, since ESRB don't play the games they rate. However, something these people may have missed is that several of the pictures clearly show that the game is being displayed on an external screen rather than a 3DS. See how they connect? This means that someone is playing the game and displaying it on a screen, or it is a video of the game in action, which would make sense. The ESRB happen to rate games by watching videos of them being played. The fact that these photos are of a screen also explain why there is a reflective lip above the character selection screen. The pixel bleed seen between the two screens in the stage selection screen photo is explained by its low quality digital picture of the two screens next to each other on a monitor. As well, the word Smash at the top of the screen in the gameplay photo is yet another thing that is explained, if we are to assume that this is a video showcasing the game's different modes to the ESRB. Finally, the detractor's favorite point of all, Disable Ad. In this picture of the victory screen, in the bottom right you'll notice what appears to be the word disabled, misspelled. Due to the blurry nature of the photo, it's a bit hard to tell for certain, but it does indeed look like there's an A where there should be an E. Remember I mentioned a bit of fabrication in the midst of these real leaks? Well, here's where it comes into play. This is going to have to require a lot of trust and a lot of stretching of the mind, but bear with me, please. Shortly after the photos of Shulk surfaced on GameFAQs, a Smashboards user named MASTERLINKX posted a render of Shulk he had made looking strikingly similar to the one featured in the leak. At first, he did not have much to say about it, leaving many confused, but the next day, he finally came clean about the situation. As it turns out, he was one of the users who had access to the leaked pictures before they went public. After the first picture with the selection screen icons and the ex-veterans appeared, he knew it was only a matter of time before the pictures found their way into the hands of the public. He decided to Photoshop the Shulk picture to look slightly different and generally less accurate. His intention was to make a photoshopped image of Shulk and the other character portraits before the real pictures were shared to cast doubt about the whole leak. Supposedly, none of the other pictures were meant to be seen by anyone besides the group that initially had access to them. So to prevent unspecified damage to some of the group members, or the possible leaker's job, MASTERLINKX wanted to make the whole leak seem like an elaborate fake. Unfortunately, the pictures of Shulk's portrait surfaced sooner than he intended and he was not able to post his Photoshop version first, making his plan fail. A detail MASTERLINKX brought up while revealing all of this is that the person responsible for revealing the Shulk gameplay photos themselves wished to cast a bit of doubt and or confusion to attentive fans as well. So they edited one of the pictures to have disabled misspelled. MASTERLINKX then released an unedited version of the picture featuring disabled spelled correctly. Right now, this explanation requires some trust that MASTERLINKX is telling the truth. Though, given what we know and have seen, it would seem as though he indeed had access to these photos before they were public, so there is good reason to not doubt his word. Now we're going to go to the side of supporters and their reason for believing it's real. The biggest thing they like to point out is to fake all this without making any major mistakes will take a lot of time and near professional skill. Not only do these pictures accurately match almost everything we've seen so far in official pictures, but the character renders are almost unique and what most would consider high quality. On top of that, the stage preview icons provide looks at some new stages from angles we've never seen, meaning to fake them would have to perfectly recreate each stage. This would also mean that the creator had some serious inside knowledge of what would be shown next. Then they would know the changes from E3, like the Fox images, and then they'd have to do all this in a short amount of time. It's also worth noting Meta Knight's artwork went on the internet a week before the 4chan leak was posted. And if we're to believe Ninka and Vaanrose, these images were had from way before then. Some more proof comes from this little stage image. This would be part of Kirby's Dream Land on the Game Boy. Ergo, part of this Game Boy stage from an earlier pick of the day. Yet, how did the leaker know it was a Kirby stage if it was indeed fake? All we got was this picture. So it kinda gives us more proof that this isn't an elaborate fake. From these stage previews comes the biggest piece of evidence supporting the leak's validity yet, the Tomodachi Life room. In the preview for the new Tomodachi Life stage, a room is showcased that had not been seen prior to the leak. However, the new Famitsu scans have now shown this exact room design. It's a very small percentage that the leaker could have known to make this room just by looking at Tomodachi Life, as this stage features modified versions of the original game's room design. To pick a room design that would appear in Smash Bros. Stage and correctly replicate how it would be redesigned would require either inside knowledge or just an improbably lucky guess. That's it from me. What do you think about this whole thing? It's certainly a lot to take in, like I said, but I hope I cleared up most of the questions people had in my last video. Sorry I did not go into the details of the leak then. That video was merely to inform you of the leak. This one is more for the analytical speculation you guys like. And again, I did not do this alone. I didn't do this at all. I'm just the messenger boy. This was in part possible by the many people on Smashboards coming together and providing proofs, examples, and images for the leak. The script was done by Joalro and Deoxys911 of Smashboards. I couldn't have done it without you guys. Thank you. You're sexy. And with that, this has been Lax. Thanks for watching, y'all. This has been a hell of a week for Smash fans, but I thank you for sticking by me in these rough times. Anyways, I'll see you on the flip side. Take care.